Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel where today we are taking a look at my April TBR, or all the books that I want to read in the month of April. As always, I have picked out 10 books from my shelves, but there might be more books that I read in April because I don't know that I'm going to get to every book from my March TBR. And if I don't get to some of them, I'm just going to kind of shove them into April and hope that I'm just not overloading myself for April. I don't know. This may end up being just a gigantic mistake. We'll see how it goes though. But the books that I am putting on my April TBR, let's get started with Imposter by Susanne Winnacker. This is a young adult science fiction type story, and we're following our main character of Tessa, who has the ability to touch a person, absorb their DNA, and mimic their appearance. And she is working for a special branch of the FBI when she is sent to this small town in Oregon, I believe, and she is pretending to be a normal girl by the name of Madison, and she needs to track down a killer. But she is really enjoying being a normal girl, and her wants are definitely in contention with trying to solve this murder so that she can go back to working for the FBI. And the story goes from there. This is one I'm not entirely certain how I'm going to feel about because that is a very interesting premise, but I don't necessarily have a ton of faith that it's going to work out how I want it to because it's just an older book, and I just haven't been doing real well with older YA. So we shall see. The next book is After Eden by Helen Douglas, and this is also a young adult science fiction book. And we're following our main character of Eden, and she loves puzzles, and her latest puzzle is the new boy at school. And he's just so mysterious. Like, there's all these things that don't make sense about him. And then one day she's in his bedroom and sees some stuff she's not supposed to and realizes that he is a time traveler from the future sent back. And it comes out that he is here on a secret mission and to change the past, obviously, and she may have jeopardized his only chance to do that because she found out about it. And the story goes from there. This is another one. It sounds like it could be really interesting. It sounds like it may just be a dumpster fire. Who knows? Again, young adult. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. After that, we have The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi, which I'm just going to take a moment and say it's beautiful. This is a beautiful cover. It's like shiny, and it's got that on the naked hardback. It's beautiful. Okay, sorry. But part of why I'm excited to read this is because it's so beautiful. I will admit that. But it's what caught my eye. And then I looked at the description and I said, okay, I want to read that. Basically, we're in the 1800s in Paris, France, and our main character of Severin has been tasked with this heist, I guess, and he has to put together a crew to pull off this heist. And the story goes from there. I love me a good heist story, and so I am hoping that this gives me all the good heist vibes. Especially because I'm going to be really sad if this is such a beautiful book and I have to get rid of it because it doesn't work for me. I can hope. After that, we have You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle. And this is an adult romance. And essentially we're following our main characters, Naomi and Nicholas. And basically they are engaged. And Naomi is like, thinks Nicholas is absolutely perfect. Their relationship is absolutely perfect, and she is so incredibly miserable because even though everything is perfect, it's not perfect for her. But because they're engaged, they made a deal that if either of them wants out, that's fine, but the person who wants out has to pay for all the non-refundable deposits. And so Naomi does not want to be the one to break up this engagement, so she decides that she's just going to prank him, sabotage their relationship to try to make him decide to leave. And as this is going on, she realizes that Nicholas is doing the same thing to her. And it's one of those things where when you have nothing left to lose. You can truly be yourself. And they find that they actually like each other like that. So it is like a lovers to enemies to lovers, which I find very interesting because I'm not generally an enemies to lovers type of person. I find that most often in that situation, they're mean to each other. And so, like, I don't see how anybody can get past that. But I'm hoping that this variation maybe can go ahead, work for me. So I am excited to see how it goes. After that, we have, well, okay, so this is it's an omnibus. It's called The Legend of Eli Monpress. That is the name of the series. But the first book is The Spirit Thief. And it's by Rachel Aaron. And I don't know a ton about this. This was on my spouse's shelf. This is the one that I just pulled down to try it out. It looks interesting. It's about a guy named Eli Monpress. He is a legendary thief, and he has decided he wants to steal the king. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I have heard this is really good. So, like, I figured even with that little bit of a description that sounds interesting, people like it, I'll go ahead and give it a try. After that, we have Velveteen versus the Seasons by Seanan McGuire. And this is the third book in the Velveteen versus series. So the Velveteen versus series is actually a series of short stories that are all interconnected and moving forward this kind of overarching plot lines. But it features our main character of Velveteen, or Velma, and she lives in a world where those with superpowers are identified really young and then sent off to corporations to train them. Now, the deal about so these corporations train them, but they are able to retain all copyright and licensing around their superhero identities, and so it's kind of this big messy thing. But Velveteen, Velma, is the first person who is able to leave the corporation when she turns 18, and it's in that first book we're finding out how she is able to survive like that. I can't really tell you too much about this book without spoiling other things, but this is a book that we have kind of been working our way towards, and so I am very excited to see where this goes. After that, we have The Strange Case of Finley Jayne, The Girl in the Steel Corset, and The Girl in the Clockwork Collar, all by Kady Cross. So the Strange Case of Finley Jayne is actually a prequel novella, and then The Girl in the Steel Corset is book 1, and The Girl in the Clockwork Collar is book 2 in the Steampunk Chronicles. So essentially, Finley Jayne is a female Jekyll and Hyde of sorts, and she runs into a boy, Griffin, who recognizes she has magic and kind of brings her into his little band of misfits. And as she finally finds like a place she can call home, there is a criminal mastermind who is bent on destroying this little group. And the story goes from there. So this is actually going to be a reread. When I first read it, I really liked the prequel story and the first book. And then it went downhill really quickly. And so I want to see if that is still the case. If it is so, then I am going to figure out how many books in this series I actually want to keep, if any at all. And I want to know so that I can get rid of them if they are bad. You know what I mean? I'm hopeful that it's not completely terrible and I don't hate my time reading the first book. Although if I do, I was just DNF it. But we'll see. I don't really know how this is going to go. I just don't know. We'll see. After that, we have House Immortal by Devon Monk, and this is the first book in an adult urban fantasy series. And we are following our main character of Matilda, and she's kind of made up of a lot of different bits, like sewn together, I guess. And she thinks she's unique until a man ends up on her front porch, and he is exactly like she is, and tells her that she's actually part of a larger group. Not a very big group, but larger. And she's basically immortal, and there are a bunch of magic houses that are working to try to control this group. And the story goes from there. Now, I am not always great with urban fantasy in general, and Devon Monk has really interesting ideas, and I think generally does a good job of writing them, but the writing and like how it's executed is usually not something that I easily connect with. And so I have no idea how this is going to go because it sounds interesting. But I've never connected with the Devon Monk series, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And then next up is Blackbirds by Chuck Wendig, and this is an urban fantasy. I don't know if it's adult or young adult, but probably adult. But this is following our main character of Miriam, and when she touches a person, she can see when and how they are going to die. And it's just something she has to live with until she shakes the hands of this trucker that she hitched a ride with and sees that he is going to die within 30 days. And when he does, he is going to be saying her name. And usually she does not interfere with this whole death process, but that seems like it kind of has something to do with her own survival, so she goes ahead and steps in to try to make things not bad, right? I have never read a Chuck Wendig story. I have seen his writing online. He is very particular online, and I don't know how much of that is going to come through in his books. So I'm intrigued by this premise, but if how he writes in this book is similar to how he writes online, I'm not going to like it. But I want to give it a try because I'm very hopeful that it is different enough that I can enjoy it. And then the two books that from my March TBR that I am the most likely to shove off into April are Blood Heir by Ilona Andrews, the first book in the Aurelia Writer series, which is also an adult urban fantasy, and Calculated Risks by Seanan McGuire, which is the 10th book in the Encrypted series, which is also an adult urban fantasy. A lot of urban fantasy this month. I'm trying to make my way through some of them and just see how I feel about them. So we'll see how this month goes. But that is all I have, you guys. Comment down below if you have read any of these, if you are interested in reading any of these, your thoughts about them, or just let me know what you are planning to read in the month of April. But that is all I have. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And until next time, have happy reading, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.